Hi everyone, and welcome to Thunderbolt Tech Tips, your source for all things Thunderbolt. I'm your host, Lyle Wernicke, and today's topic is how one internationally acclaimed wildlife photographer solved her 4K at 120 frames per second terabyte issue using Thunderbolt. So stick around as we interview photographer, filmmaker, and visual artist Kristi Odom. Hey, we've got a great interview coming up, but before we jump into that, I want to make sure you don't miss out on the latest Thunderbolt Tech Tips contest with all you creators in mind. So be sure to check out the contest link in the video description below, and I'm going to share more on this awesome BlackJet Thunderbolt product later in this video. Okay, I want to welcome Kristi Odom, the Thunderbolt Tech Tips. Kristi is an internationally acclaimed wildlife photographer, filmmaker, Nikon ambassador, associate fellow of the International League of Conservation Photographers, a motivational speaker, and who I like to call a super talented visual artist and world traveler. Kristi, welcome to Thunderbolt Tech Tips.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I just want to say congratulations on that Nikon commercial with you shooting wildlife. I mean, it looked fantastic. It was awesome.
So much fun. That was such a fun shoot.
So Kristi, I know you've been working on many new projects. Can you tell us a little bit about one of your latest projects and how you're using Thunderbolt as part of your workflow?
One of my latest projects was really exciting. Back in, I think it was June, July, back in summer of last year, I got this call from Nikon. It was, they had asked me if I would be interested in doing one of their campaign pieces for their new flagship mirrorless camera that was coming out, the Nikon Z9. And I remember, like, I've always dreamed of having a camera campaign because it's like this opportunity to photograph what you're passionate about, get the most brand new tech, and be able to like show off your skills as a photographer and put together a shoot. And it's been a dream of mine to have a campaign. And the Z9, they didn't have a manual for it. I couldn't get it before the shoot. It was for a wildlife shoot. They wanted me to show off a new feature that was 120 frames per second with video at 4K. And so I was really excited. I knew what I was going to be doing. I was going to be doing wildlife, and I pitched them an idea to do high altitude wildlife, animals that live at like 10, 12,000 feet and above, because I'm now obsessed with the mountains. But they literally flew in and we had to start shooting, pretty much right after they flew in, and they put the camera in my hands and I'm going, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to really perform. They had these devices set up so that people could see the back of camera. And I remember I couldn't even tell you, Lyle. And I was like, but I'm going to be using so much Thunderbolt technology and all of this because we were shooting off, I think I shot off a terabyte during the next 5 days of shooting. And I had to like come home and offload the cards really fast and also like turn around and, get out for the sunrise for the next day. So it was this really short window of time with technology I didn't know with the new camera, but at least from the post side with the computer and the Thunderbolt and, that technology I did know.
It's pretty wild given some of us are capturing at 4K at 30 frames per second, and we think those are large, let alone 4K at 120 frames per second. It seems like, the 4K at 120 frames per second is almost probably becoming the new baseline for high quality slow-mo video, right? And you have to have like Thunderbolt just to make sure that you can transfer that amount of data so you're not just sitting around all the time, but like going and getting coffee and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Well, I didn't have to do any of the waiting. It was really quite phenomenal. It was like, I didn't have that time. I remember, oh my gosh, so I used to shoot weddings. I shot weddings for years and I did a lot of destination weddings. And I remember going and shooting all day, having like full day of, all these photos from when we started shooting, 8-10 hours of shooting. And I remember sitting in the hotel rooms with my laptops and I would literally have to overnight it because before traveling, I always wanted the data on 2 different hard drives before leaving that destination, because this is these couples' wedding images. And I used to I would start my download right away and set my alarm clock and wake up to do the next card, do the next card, do the backup. And it was literally an overnight process getting all that data off of the cards and onto my 2 backup drives. And now it's like, I don't even have time to pour myself a cup of tea. I'm like, wow, that backup was so fast. It's really quite phenomenal. And I think back in the old days when, that waiting time and that lack of sleep because of needing to like back everything up properly. And now it's instantaneous, especially with Thunderbolt technology.
What advice would you give a creator who may be just starting out, or a creator who's rethinking their workspace and workflow environments?
Well, that's a great question. As a photographer and filmmaker, we think really quickly about what cameras to use, what lens to use, even what cards to use in our camera. But I don't think that I really thought about how to make sure all my data was secure and safe, and the time it took for that. Like actually knowing how to do your whole workflow so that you can get your data on multiple drives before traveling, to make sure that you're not losing that information that you might need for your client or for yourself or for whatever you're working on. So being able to understand the computer side and the hard drives and the speed and the time that it takes, because a lot of times, like, I would just buy a simple card reader, like one of the cheapest ones, because I didn't think about that as being such an integral part of the process. But now, even with my Thunderbolt card reader, it's like, I barely have time to do anything, which is great. It's like, put the card in, it's uploaded, ready to go. And sometimes like you forget about the speed of different things. Like if you've got a really fast card reader to get the data onto your computer, and then you're trying to put the data onto removable drives, like buying that cheapest external hard drive can really slow down that process. I've had situations where using the Thunderbolt card reader for my CF Express, it'll read in like a couple of minutes, but then it'll be a 50-minute period of time for me to take the data off the computer and onto a slow hard drive. So finding out that, speed matters the whole way through is something that would have given me a lot less sleepless nights for sure.
So what does your workspace and workflow look like in your office, and how does Thunderbolt fit into that picture?
Oh my gosh, Thunderbolt fits in all throughout the whole process, from my Thunderbolt docking stations to my Thunderbolt monitor. Thunderbolt is everywhere in my office, and it's integral to, the speed of the CF Express cards that I'm using, matching that with Thunderbolt technology to get that data onto my computer as fast as possible. And yeah.
Hey, and just a quick note for those that are watching, we're going to post all the Thunderbolt devices that Kristi uses in the video description. So what kind of laptop do you use for all your editing then?
I just got back from photographing and doing video in Bolivia and Ecuador. And so when I'm on the go, I'm using my Asus ZenBook Pro Duo, which is what I'm broadcasting. So I can't show you, but it's the one that's right here in front of us. And that's great too, because it's got Thunderbolt technology so that I can get data off my cards really quickly and onto my Thunderbolt drives. So it's been really nice. I don't have to stay up all night anymore. I have time to sleep so I can prepare for shooting again the next day. It's glorious.
And all that from one Asus laptop with Thunderbolt ports. You have a complete studio workstation, and what is cool is that you simply disconnect one cable, head to Starbucks, or in your case, the airport, and then you come back, connect your Thunderbolt cable, and you're back to a full workstation setup.
Exactly. It's like perfect for being a creator on the go.
Kristi, your work really speaks for itself. I want to thank you for joining Thunderbolt Tech Tips, and I'm sure a lot of us are going to continue to follow your work. Again, amazing work. Congratulations on all the work you're doing in all your travels, and look forward to following you.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for giving me so many more hours to sleep, which has been such a gift that Thunderbolt has given me. So thank you guys all for watching today. I really appreciate it.
And as I mentioned, BlackJet has provided us a Thunderbolt 2-bay docking station for our Thunderbolt Tech Tips contest. And I wanted to spend just a minute to show you one of these devices and all the card reader options you can get with it. It's simply crazy awesome. But first, if you liked today's video, we always appreciate a thumbs up so we know the topics are helpful. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the next Thunderbolt Tech Tips episode. So what makes these Thunderbolt devices so important to creators is the performance, which is based upon Thunderbolt's 40 gigabits a second bandwidth. In addition, this device allows you to configure different media cartridges that plug directly into the two bays. And BlackJet offers an array of media cartridges to meet your needs. And oh, by the way, these dock stations are stackable and you can daisy chain them with Thunderbolt. Check these modules out. Everything from a Master Caddy and SSD Mini, CF Express, XQD card reader, Sony S/S card reader, a red mini bag reader, dual SD, NVMe, SSD, and a few more. This is the Swiss Army knife of a creator's tool chest. It's amazing. So be sure to check out our video description for our Thunderbolt Tech Tip contest, as well as other links and resources to all the Thunderbolt devices you saw in this video.